Alright, so I already showed the video of the face on the in front of the tree and shit. Yeah, that's cool. So now this little bitch, and yeah, I'm gonna call him a little bitch because you know what? Anybody that does his shit and acts like fucking he does is a bitch. Straight up, 100% bitch. And you know, and them being warlocks and witches and shit, him and McFadden, you know, they can pop in and out of people's bodies and do that fucking, you know, whatever. Because, you know, they look for this motherfucking installation that never ran. That's stupid. I got all the downloads. I got all the fucking information that I need on you motherfuckers. And this is story time. You know, I did story time a few months ago, about a month ago. And, you know, and I'm doing story times. I'm not doing them all in session like how things went down. I'm doing them in parts. Little part here, little part there. That way no motherfucker can say, oh, well, he stole that idea from me and that's mine. And, you know, he's acting like me. And no, nigga, this is all me. Moving on. So, what I'm thinking is Brandon is Josh's dad. That's what I'm thinking. And they say incest is best. Put your brother to the test. But I think it's incest is best. Daddy put the son to the test, and you know, it is what it is. And then I heard that, okay, because my wife, she was able to, you know, polish the knob pretty good. Anyways, I heard this motherfucker was better than her. And I'm like, you're nasty. I told the dude, I was like, that's foul. And then I was thinking, how the fuck could you be with a man that sucks dick better than you? That's a fucked up thing. Anyways, that's just like, wow. But I guess all the women like that shit. I guess, you know, they learning something. Whatever. Go learn away. But, yeah, that's kind of crazy. A motherfucking dude with a chick that does a pretty damn good polish job, but can polish better than her. That must be fucking, that must be hard on your soul. I'd be embarrassed as fuck. And then knowing that this motherfucker makes you sleep with all his friends and then sells you to the MPs when he was done with you because he was done with you. Except for when it comes to me. If I show any interest in these women, they are fucking all alert and shit and fucking, this is my girl. I don't want your girl. Motherfucker, I had that. I don't want that shit again. You had that. Everybody's had that. What the fuck? That's kind of crazy. I'll pass. And I'll hard pass. Okay. So we know that McFadden in Maine, Manning, whatever the fuck his name is, the little fuck boy, are related to him. Or they're in the same coven, whatever. And I know that they like to siphon off my energy. So they'll send women in to siphon my energy, and then they'll fucking go and they'll siphon the energy off of them. Or however the fuck the vampire bitches do it. So they do whatever they do. But those are not the only two. Those are just the white people in this little, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Now let's go over into this, into the Mexicans real quick. So one day, I met this girl well, she wasn't a girl. She's a tranny. But she's a woman. Because I love her and I know who she is, and we became real good friends. And so her brother owned a fucking scrapyard, which he stole from a dead man, and then he just took the identity of the scrapyard and became it the identity of it, and it was never in his name, it was in the guy that they killed. So, with that being said, you know, they're running an illegal business which is funded by the police, and he has military backing, you know, because he's part of the Sonora, whatever the fuck, whatever. Mexican fucking whatever. Anyways. So there's this dude, his name is AZ Jr. His name is Junior, but they call him AZ. Anyways. This motherfucker, this jealous ass, pussy ass motherfucker right here. So he finds out that I was married to my wife, whoever the fuck she is. And so he befriends me, and he's like, come over, I got the best shit. And he's like, I'll fucking kick you down, I'll fucking bust you, whatever you want. And I'm thinking, okay, what, something fishy going on here, but whatever. I'll take your free dope. Fuck it. So we was kicking it tough, and there'd be certain days where he'd be like, you gotta bounce right now because I got somebody coming over. And I didn't know who the fuck that somebody was, and I didn't give a fuck because it was none of my concern, none of my business, way above my pay grade. So all of a sudden, one day I'm sitting with the homegirl, and I was, we were smoking, and I was like, who's in there with AZ? I was like, that voice sounds familiar. And she was like, oh, that's just Jessica. I was like, what'd you just say? And she's like, that's Jessica. She's like, she used to date AZ a long time ago. And then she was like, well, she dated all of them. And I'm like, what does she look like? And she's like, I was like, wait a minute. And I pulled up a picture of me and her, and she was like, what are you doing with her? I was like, that's my wife. And she was like, oh shit. And then all I heard was AZ laughing. And I was like, this dirty motherfucker knew. So yeah. So then, okay. So then I find out, because I love bikes. You guys know how I am about my bikes. Oh, which I got my bike back. So anyways, so I'm ready to do my bucket list, on a ride from Phoenix to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to go see my sister because I heard she was in the hospital, and and I wanted to see how long it would take me. It's an 8-hour drive from Phoenix to Albuquerque in a car, and I was like, I'm just gonna fucking just load up, fill up a backpack, and then just bounce. And I did. I got there in 14 hours, 14.4 hours. Now, I'm not even going to lie. About 10 miles before I reached Albuquerque, about 10, 15 miles, maybe it was about 15 miles, a lady in a truck pulled, because I fell asleep on the freeway. I was tired as fuck. So I fell asleep on the freeway, and she pulled over. And she went, and she was like, are you okay? She's like, where are you headed? And I'm like, I'm heading into Albuquerque to go see my sister. And she's like, where are you coming from? And I was like, I'm coming from Phoenix. She's like, put your bike in my truck and, come on. She's like, I got the kids in there. She's like, you sit in the front. I was like, no. I was like, you have your kids? I was like, and you're a woman and you don't have your husband with you? I was like, I'll sit in the back. And she was like, well, it's going to rain. I was like, no, I'm good. I'll sit in the back. I got a tarp. I'll cover myself. And she was like, well, let me give you some jackets and some blankets. I was like, no. I was like, just, let's go. I appreciate the ride. And so she rode me in. She drove me into to Albuquerque. I ain't even gonna lie. But I still made it there, in the time, 4 hours, whatever. Anyways, So the one that the dude that murdered the dude for the scrapyard and shit. So I was doing some work for him. You know, I was stripping some wire, you know, trying to make a little bit of money. You know, trying to be productive with my life. Which was stagnant on fucking hold because of these motherfuckers. And all these motherfuckers, they're all united in the same motherfucking whatever. I'll tell you what the same thingy is in a minute. But not in any of these posts. Alright, let me get back to that story. I'll be right back.